What's happening, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Unparalleled Sports Talk with yours, Kwame Fisher Jones. As always, I am him. A couple of days ago, a couple of news came through that kind of caught my eye and kind of broke my heart a little bit. Not broke my heart, but I felt a certain way about it. Former Washington Commanders offensive coordinator, former Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator, Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy, signed on to become the offensive coordinator for the UCLA Bruins. So he basically went from the NFL ranks down to the college ranks. And for those of you who don't know, Eric Bieniemy is a guy who's been searching for a very long time to get a head coaching job. Apparently had a resume that yielded some head coaching opportunities, but he could never seem to break through. Never get an opportunity to become leader of men for an entire franchise. And a lot of people felt it was because he was black, a lot of different things that were non-football related because on the football field, he was one of the best that done it. So he made the decision to leave the Kansas City Chiefs, walk from allegedly Andy Reid's shadow to go to the Washington Commanders with Ron Rivera and prove that he was a great football mind, capable of thriving without Andy Reid. And after a 4-13 record, after finishing 25th in points, 24th in yards, 21st in first downs, and managing to muster 30 or more points only 3 times, he was relieved of his duty. With those type of results, rightfully so. And then you start to say, well, it wasn't Bieniemy, it was actually Andy Reid. And then there were rumors or reports came out that he was mean head coach and he didn't know how to adjust the star players. There aren't any star players in Washington, but that's not the point. He was too hard on players and he was a difficult man to be around. Your team's 4-13, and this dude's coming from winning Super Bowls. But that's not the point. The point is he was not the guy that would lead the Commanders to something else or other. I don't know what the Commanders thought they were headed, where they think they're going, but apparently the guy that's won Super Bowls, the guy that's coached the best quarterback in the game today, who will probably go down as arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play, managed to not fit the criteria for what you're looking for. And then you say, well, it's easy to say it's because he's black. And as a black man, trust me, bro, I feel you. You know, I understand what you're going through. Not so much as getting a position, but feeling like your resume should get you the opportunities. That your acclaim and achievement are aligned with one another. They run parallel. You should be a head coach. But there has to come a point, EB or Coach Bieniemy, where success matters where you are. And it doesn't matter if it's where you want to be. Being successful where you are should count for something. And when you initially left the Chiefs, I thought it was a good idea. And then I saw you coaching Sam Howell and Washington Commanders, and that ship be sinking. And I thought, nah, my man, you probably should have stayed in Kansas City. They needed you as bad as you needed them. Rumor has it that right before the Super Bowl, or actually right before the AFC title game, Andy Reid brought Coach Bieniemy in to talk to the players, and they were happy to see. Kansas City lacked their receivers, their skill position players lacked attention to detail, something that Bieniemy is known to be intense about. At times, the Kansas City wide receiver chief specifically did not hone in their skills and catch the ball. Minor things, little things that you do that eventually catch up and become a failure. So little things that Eric Bieniemy played very meticulous detail to. But now I think about it, and I think UCLA may be the right move for him. In fact, I think it is the best move for him. Going to UCLA, being a strong disciplinarian, a guy that is meticulous in his coaching, is almost borderline anal and hoardish about the way he runs his system, will work with young men. Will work with guys who want to make it to the next level. Being able to say that I'm not only a Super Bowl winning coach, but I was also one of college football's better football players. A lot of people don't know Eric Bieniemy played for the University of Colorado. Was one of their best running backs to ever come out of that school. He can relate to these young men on a level that a lot of us can't. A lot of coaches won't be able to. He comes in with a cachet that's bigger than Nick Saban as far as his resume, but he comes in with personality that's similar to Nick Saban. And I'm hoping, and while hope is not a plan, I believe and prayerfully this is the right stop for him. This is where he's supposed to be. Shaping young minds, shaping talented players, and helping them achieve their goals by showing them that there are no shortcuts. See, when Bieniemy coached pro players, he didn't adjust the star players with something you're awfully a lot. He didn't, he was too hard on players on a pro level. Well, sometimes pro players need that. Sometimes you don't want a guy that's going to stroke your ego or pat you in the back. You want to kick you in your ass. Pay to get it done. Hey, this is what we need to do. And when you've got the Super Bowl wins, the AFC Championship appearances, to say, I've been there, I know what it takes. We find out real early about if the person you're coaching has what it takes. Coaching only matters when you got talent. That record at 4-13 in Washington, they didn't have the talent to get it done. The lack of things that he's did, or the lack of results in the production, doesn't mean he's not a good coach. It means he didn't have good players. Quite frankly, Newt Rockney, who's the cat? Lou Holtz, Nick Saban, they couldn't have led Washington to a championship. Shoot, they could have led Washington to a double-digit win season. But when you've only scored 30 points 3 times in 17 games, twice against the same team, it might be the time for a change. And the change could be a good change for Bieniemy. I believe it will. UCLA got rid of Chip Kelly, probably the worst coach in modern day sports. They bring in a guy who will run a pro-style offense. They'll get players in there who can adjust his offense. They probably won't get the 5-star recruits, which will be a good thing because you can coach up with 3 stars and you get them for a few years. It's not like college basketball. And he can coach, and he can just worry about football. He'll no longer be the poster child for the walking discrimination that is the NFL. He'll no longer be the poster child for, man, I need to hire this dude. But what about Eric Bieniemy? He'll be happy in UCLA. Hopefully. Again, hope's not a plan, but I believe he will be. And I believe success will follow him because he's been successful. He was successful in Minnesota when he was a running back coach for Adrian Peterson, who couldn't duplicate those yards once he left Minnesota. And albeit he may have aged, but he never had the success or was never quite the same player without Bieniemy. And again, talent matters, but coaching only matters when you have talent. And he gets the most out of his players. Patrick Mahomes may not be Patrick Mahomes if you don't get the early coaching from Eric Bieniemy. Tyreek Hill may not be one of the best deep threats if he doesn't get the meticulous, penal attention to detail that comes with Eric Bieniemy. So I believe UCLA will be a good spot for him. So don't cry for him, Argentina. Go into college ranks, he'll make a good salary. He'll get to do what he loves to do, and he'll get an opportunity to worry about just football. Bringing in head coach Deshaun Foster, they may bump heads a little bit, but I get the feeling Deshaun is confident enough in his masculinity where he'll be able to cipher through all of Bieniemy's extra stuff and worry about what happens on the field. And playing in UCLA while you got the transition to college football and teams moving in different conferences and whatever have you, the new alignment will allow Bieniemy to get access to different players, his Super Bowl rings, his cachet, his phone book, his Rolodex. I know they don't call it phone book, what they call it, contact list. Will get him guys that UCLA hasn't gotten since Troy Aikman walked off that field. He doesn't need the 5-star recruit because he knows football. I'm going to repeat that. He knows football. Now, the question here will be, can he teach it to young men? Can he teach young men how to become men? Can he teach young men to be accountable, to be available, so they can show that they're able? That's the big question going forward with Eric Bieniemy. So upon first news, when the news broke, and I'm seeing the headlines, I'm done with Eric Bieniemy, and he should have been gotten a job, and he should never went to Washington. There's a lot of revisionist history, a lot of hindsight being 2020, a lot of shoulda, coulda, woulda. But where we are right now is all you need to focus on. And the focus says that Bieniemy made the right move. So you don't have to worry about if this organization is racist or if this owner's prejudiced, because the bottom line is you can't work. The bottom line is it doesn't matter. There's no simile or metaphor or analogy I need to use. It doesn't matter. They don't want you. That's all that matters. But you want to coach. So you find an opportunity that fits you. You sit down at that table where you're welcome and you eat that meal that you help prepare. And eventually, when it's all said and done, people who wish you the worst, or the people who refuse to hire you, will see that you're well worth that opportunity. That's all that matters. Not your skin color, not how mean you are, not you put too much salt on the mashed potatoes. All of those things go out the window now. So now it's all about football. And college football, you're spending more than enough time, fusion guys and rubbing backs. Oh, that's not what college football is about. Ask some boys in Alabama. Ask some boys, down in Ole Miss or Michigan. We're not here to make friends. We're here to get wins. And that's what Eric Bieniemy is going to do. And I'm excited for him, and I'm excited for that opportunity. So we can no longer say, we'll no longer hear about discrimination or, prejudice or the NFL not hire black coaches when we mention Eric Bieniemy's name. Now we can talk about UCLA's championship winning offensive coordinator being rumored for opportunities. And that's what it should be. That's what it should be. Because when it's all said and done, it should be about your job and your performance and nothing else. So I'm excited for Bieniemy. I'm excited for college football. I'm going to be watching UCLA closely. Deion Sanders in Colorado may have played a role in Bieniemy even thinking about going down to UCLA. So now you have Bieniemy, UCLA, Coach Sanders in Colorado, college football. College football is going to be doing some different things, and I'm excited to see how it comes. That's it for this episode of Unparalleled Sports Talk. If you enjoyed the podcast, make sure you like, share, subscribe, whatever your podcast platform allows you to do. And as always, we appreciate your time of year. You be easy.